Boys, UFC 319, a very dominant main event and some crazy highlight reel KO of the year contenders in that co-main event and featured fight. With that being said, the entire card as a whole was decent. You know, we had some fun highlight reel moments here. We had some huge underdogs cashing out, but that being said, let's just get straight into this. As you can see on screen, we have every single winner, a few losers here and there, as well as every single winner on those prelims and early prelims, because on this rare MMA channel, we run through every single winner. That being said, main card, main event, honestly, one of the most, if not the most dominant championship fights we've seen in, for sure, recent UFC memory. The latest one I can think of was Bilal versus JDM, but even then, that was nowhere near this one. DDP had no real success. I think they said on the broadcast that he had one significant shot going into the 5th round. With that being said, what do we do with these two guys? I think it's fairly simple. For Chimaev, it's gonna be the winner of Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio Borralho. I do still think, you know, people like a RDR, people like a Anthony Hernandez are going to need to get another win here, especially someone like Anthony Hernandez, to be honest. You know, he just came out here and beat a Roman Dolidze, which if you guys know anything about this channel and have been watching me for any period of time, you know I don't really rate Roman Dolidze that highly. I still think both of them need at least one more win to get a title shot. With that being said, but Nassourdine Imavov and Caio Borralho are literally fighting within a few days here now, so winner of that can fight Chimaev. Hopefully we have an active Chimaev and we see this dude here by the end of the year. I would love to see that. Is that gonna happen? Probably not. We'll see Chimaev probably next year. And yeah, again, very dominant. There was, I can think of two moments that DDP really had in this fight, and that was right before being taken down. He hit Chimaev with a good head kick, and then the end of round 5. Other than that, DDP had nothing. With that being said, who's next for DDP? He took really no damage, you know, no significant damage. He didn't get spinning elbow flatlined here, so he should be ready to go by the end of the year. And I think we give him one of those two names that I just talked about, who I said they need one more. And since, you know, we've been wanting this matchup for a while, it would the battle of the goofy goobers, the cartoon sound effects would go crazy in this fight. It has to be DDP versus RDR. This could be on a pay-per-view, or this could be a main event of a non-pay-per-view. There's countless things you can do here. Put this at MSG. I don't care. I want this fight next. It makes sense, and I feel like if I'm DDP, I want to run this shit back right away. I want to get back in there right away, and I want to fight someone who is, you know, similar to a Chimaev, you know, RDR, for example, and I want to run it back. So mark these guys up. I would love to see these guys fight by the end of the year. We know, fingers crossed that shit happens. Who knows? They might be waiting to have Chimaev now fight on the first ever Paramount Plus deal. I could see that happening, but let's keep moving down to the co-main event. The first thing I saw after this fight, I go on Twitter, and the first thing I see is a tweet saying, "Welcome to the UFC, Aaron Pico." And it's having that bedtime like lullaby song playing while Pico is just flatline out cold staring at the stars. And yeah, again, the last time I am gonna fall for the hype of these outside organization dudes coming into the UFC and fighting someone in the top 15. Absolute last time I'm doing that. With that being said, what do we do with Lerone Murphy? Now, it seems like you know, the UFC wants to do not just a UFC, even the champ himself wants this fight next. So let's do Volkanovski versus Lerone Murphy. You know, we were all talking about the arguably number one contender. For Movsar Evloev, I don't know who you give this dude. Maybe, Yair Rodriguez. I don't fucking know. You know, that's what happens when you get injured and you pull out of a fight. So I don't know who Movsar Evloev is going to fight. All I know is I don't think Evloev is next up for Volk. They're probably going to do Lerone Murphy. And you see, I'll probably just kill myself if Murphy ends up like knocking out or finishing or beating Volkanovski for that matter. I will most likely be killing myself if that happens. But it is what it is. It's the it makes sense, scheduling wise. Even Volk said on Twitter he wants to see him in December. I think that's what he said. So yeah, fuck it, run that one next. Moving down though, Carlos Prates with another, highlight reel knockout. I swear, the first thing I thought of when my dude Carlos Prates murked out Geoff Neal, all I'm thinking is like, damn, that is a great hammer hitting a coconut sound effect. That shit sounded exact. It brought me back to my childhood when my neighbor was trying to open up a coconut with a hammer. It sounded exactly like that. And low-key, I was terrified for my dude's life because he hit him right on the temple. And if you don't know, the temple is one of the thinnest parts of the skull. Dude could have had a fractured skull, could have had an elbow straight through the skull. That being said, what is next for Carlos Prates? I know there was talk of him going to Rio. Yes, he's going to Rio. But there was talk about him taking on MVP. I low-key don't want to see that, I don't want to give MVP more prospects to beat, if it was against MVP's beating Prates. It just is what it is. With that being said, he called out Leon Edwards. I say Prates versus Leon Edwards. If Leon Edwards doesn't want that fight, cut his bum ass from the sport. I don't care. Leon Edwards doesn't bring much eyeballs to anything, He's not really selling pay-per-views out here. Nobody really cares about him. As soon as he's lost his belt, I swear like 95% of Leon fans just dipped out of here. That being said, run that one next. This would be fun. We're seeing that in Rio. Dana said he's going to Rio, and I want to see that one. With that being said, MVP, he wants to get back in here quick too. He said he would take on Carlos Prates. I don't want to see that. What I do want to see is, another former champion said that he's, he's trying to fight here, but people aren't, but the matchups that he wants, they're not answering, or they just simply can't fight. I think MVP versus Israel Adesanya would go crazy. Is this a huge jump up for MVP? Yes, but not really. He just beat Jared Cannonier, who is ranked number 9. Yeah, I mean, Izzy is ranked 4, but who else are you? I don't want to see him versus like a Robert Whittaker, who's ranked 8. Anthony Hernandez, he's not getting that fight. Maybe we give him a loser of a Kyle Brahalio versus Imavov. I don't really want to see MVP at 170 until he loses at like middleweight, to be honest, because at middleweight, this dude is lightning fast compared to all these other dudes. Compared to everyone else. We saw that he made Jared Cannonier look silly on the feet, just literally being like Lightning McQueen out there, giving him a 3-piece combo before Jared Cannonier even knew what happened. But that being said, fun matchup, I wouldn't mind seeing this on the first Paramount pay-per-view. Put this on MSG. I don't care. I just want to see that. With that being said, huge not fraud check, I guess fraud check, but also huge underdog came in here. Tim Elliott, Unk still got it. That being said, we ain't giving Unk any favorable matchups. I think we give Tim Elliott I'm not going to say the winner of this fight, because I only want this fight, and that's going to be Loner Kavanaugh. I think Loner is going to beat Charles Johnson. If he loses to Charles Johnson, maybe we do someone like I don't even know, to be honest. Maybe we give him a bump up in the rankings against Azul Bayov. Maybe it's a Garrett Ulanbekov, maybe, but I think we do a Loner Kavanaugh. And yeah, we're not giving Unk any special treatment. He's old out here. He's going to get a new contract. Give him like we're going to get that Paramount deal. 50% up, bump his pay up 50%. Give him Loner Kavanaugh. Make this dude a stepping stand for some of these up and coming guys. With that being said, let's get into these early prelims and prelims. I ain't even going to try to pronounce this dude's name. Baisangur. I'm going to call you Baisangur from now on, because I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name. This is the shortest turnaround in modern UFC history now, in 4 days. Who do we give him? I think he's ready to go anytime. Who else is ready to go anytime? It's going to be someone lower in the rankings. I think we give him Jackson McVeigh. And then we can just cut Jackson McVeigh, because we have too many bums on the roster, to be honest. But if this dude wants to have a quick turnaround, put him here in, a few weeks time. We don't have a pay-per-view this month, so put him in one of these upcoming fight night cards against Jackson McVeigh. Run that shit. I want to see it. Let's keep moving down though. Michal Oleksiejczuk got it done over GM3, and I think it's time we all unanimously agree it's time for GM3 to hang him up. That dude looks so old out there. We go out here and we talk about how old, you know, Dorino Burns looked. GM3 looked like a grandpa out there. He had no speed to him. All of the few fast twitch muscles he had, absolutely gone. And yeah, I think it's time we say bye to GM3. We don't need to see him keep fighting and getting flatlined out here. This dude has 20 losses already. You know, he's 37-20. I think it's time we call it a career for GM3. Hopefully we can figure something out for GM3, because the last thing I want to see is this dude go into fucking BKFC or something like that. But let's get into Michal. Michal called out Marvin Vettori. Fuck it, let's give him Marvin Vettori. Vettori is on like a 3 or 4 fight losing streak. It's time for Vettori to pay his dues and fight someone lower in the rankings. And why not give it to someone who just entered into the Fighting Nerds gym? You know, I think this could be a fun fight. We can put this on if we can get them to have a quick turnaround and put them on Brazil, I wouldn't mind that. You know, I think Vettori is ready. Michal should be ready. Wherever there's another Fighting Nerds guy, put it on that card. That being said, Loopy Godinez got it done. Does anyone really care? You know, got it done over Jessica Andrade. It was a fun fight. They were practically just throwing bombs all 3 rounds. I'm not gonna break this one down. I don't really care all that much. Let's do, you know, Jessica Andrade was a former champion. I believe she was ranked 5 or something in the division. Let's give her Tatiana Suarez. Let's give Suarez a bounce back fight. You know, it's been a long time since she has fought. Let's give her a bounce back in Loopy Godinez. Keep moving down. A very unsuccessful hate watch occurred today. I'm pissed, you know. Alexander Hernandez was supposed to lose to Chase Hooper. It is what it is. I think this fight really showed me maybe Chase Hooper just ain't a fighter, because I swear Hooper really wasn't that hurt. He low-key quit. You know, I might need to go rewatch the fight, but it looked like he quit. It looked like he could have, if he wanted to, scrambled a little bit harder. It is what it is. You know, fuck, I'm pissed. If you guys don't know, I'm a generational Alexander Hernandez hater, and I love hate watching his fights. And he just ended up fucking killing my boy Chase Hooper. With that being said, I think maybe we sign Ngannou back for a one. I'm just kidding. Let's do another winner on this card. Drakkar Klose. I don't care. Fuck it. If I could give this dude Ngannou, best believe I would. Let's move down though. Karine Silva. I don't care. Had a shitty performance. Rebook JJ Aldrich. I don't care. I really don't care. And then Joseph Morales. I don't know if you guys watch my prediction videos. I don't know who was making that video, because some idiot said that dude hasn't fought in 3 years and completely forgot that he was on The Ultimate Fighter, but let's not talk about that. I think we get him in here decently soon. He took no real damage. He pretty much dominated that fight for as long as it lasted. Daniel Barres. Again, we have a lot of bums in the roster. If he beats Daniel Barres, cut him. And yeah, those are all the winners of 319 and a few losers. What do we rate this card on a scale of 1 to 10? The whole card in general, I'm going to give it a 7.5. I think it was a 7.5. There's definitely some stinkers there, but again, makes up for it with some highlight reel moments. And you know, we were brought to light that maybe our boy GM3 needs to hang them up. It was sad to watch that one, but it is what it is. Who the fuck beats Chimaev? I don't know. Maybe RDR Loki has a chance. But yeah, I don't know. With that being said, thank you guys for watching to the end of the video, and I will see you guys in my next video.